from ASAT Kennel, and this is Sonic doing his first training session. We're teaching Sonic how to sit, how to respond to a command, and I will teach you guys how to get your dog to sit on his first day in training. Let's go. Okay, firstly let me say dog training, canine training, it's a bit of hard work, dedication. It takes a lot of time from you and stuff like those. So first of all, what you need treats for your dog, you need toys for your dog, and you need to have a bond with the dog or some form of chemistry that the dog understands what you're trying to portray to him, and for him to respond to what you're saying. Okay. Sonic is an adopted dog, and he's a bit over a year old, and he has never been trained. I've never been listening to anybody at all and stuff like those. So what my aim is to get Sonic to at least respond to the first command, or respond to a command in his first session. So let us see how that goes. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through the steps before I show you the practical version of it. So firstly, you need treats for the dog. Your dog loves toys, your dog loves food, whichever you prefer. But for Sonic, he's a food lover, so I'm gonna use treats, and I'm using these pebbles. So firstly, what you want to do is get the dog to know that, okay, you have something for him, something sweet. So you give him a taste of it at first, and then he understands and realizes that, okay, you have food, so you will actually work where food is concerned. So what you want is you want to let the dog be aware of the food. So you put it above his nose. He's going to try and get it. So the more he tries to get it, you push your hands forward, or you push your hand forward rather, for him to follow. So it's forward and his head will tilt back. During that process, you slightly put your hand at his lower back and slightly put him in a sit position, and as soon as he's there, you give him the treat. When you're giving him the treat, make sure, like, seconds before you say sit, while he's on the ground, then you give him the treat. So once you do that for a few times, you will get used to that. So once he hears sit, he's going to do it eventually, and you give him a treat. Not every time he does something correct, you treat him. So it's treat, praise, treat, praise. So to praise a dog, you like pat him on the side of his belly, rub his chest, rub his head, stuff like those. But you treat him and you praise him, and vice versa. Come. Alright, first, you have a dog who doesn't know anything about commands, as I mentioned before. Alright, to get a dog to sit up, to get the dog to sit, you need a treat. So I'm using the Pebble food, Purina brand, and I'm using that as a treat. So what you want to do is let the dog scent the food, and you slightly press on his back to the rear end and tell him sit, and I'm sure he will go down. Sit, sit. Good boy. You give him the treat and you praise the dog. Alright, so you do that for a few times, and he will eventually catch on to it. Come. You're going to have to learn how to control your dog. So not only training him to do stuff, but you want to let him understand that you're still in control. So for instance, you're telling him to do something, we're still on sit. So let's say you're telling him to sit and he's not understanding, or he's not focusing on you at the time. So once he takes his focus away from you, you need a recall, or let me say something that to get back his focus, to show him that you're in control. So some person use clickers. For now, we're not using any clickers. We are using simple stuff, simple homemade techniques and stuff like those. So my call sign, or what I'm comfortable using, is not stop, or anything like that. So once the dogs hear me like say they know that they're doing something wrong, and they will eventually stop. Teaching your dog that you have to keep him, as I mentioned, on the stronger side, the firmer hand of yours. So once he's doing something and he's losing focus, you and you pull him back a bit with a bit of force, and he will understand that that's not what he's doing. And as soon as he stop, you can also treat him or praise him. So once you're trying to put him in a sit position and he loses focus, you're trying to maintain that focus. So what you're doing is you're doing that recall, or trying to get back the focus on you. So once it's like his focus is away and you say sit and his focus is still away, you pull him back, treat him, and then sit, and he will go in that sit. Come. Alright, first you have a dog who doesn't know anything about commands, as I mentioned before. Alright, to get a dog to sit up, to get the dog to sit, you need a treat. So I'm using the Pebble Food Purina brand, and I'm using that as a treat. So what you want to do is let the dog scent the food, and you slightly press on his back to the wear end and tell him sit, and I'm sure he will go down. Sit, sit, good boy. You give him the treat and you praise the dog. Alright, so you do that for a few times and he will eventually catch on to it. Come. Sit. Good sit. Good boy. You treat the dog and praise him at the same time. Come. Come. Sit. Sit. Good boy. Come. Come. Sonic. Over time, you're going to find that sometimes the dog is pretty distracted, because remember it's his first lesson, his first session. So that's pretty normal for the dog. You're the one who is supposed to be able to control the dog. So in a case like that, you need a break sound or a marker sound for him not to do when he's doing something wrong. You can correct that. So for me, it's not stop or anything like that. It's not focus, and you get him back to focus on you. So it's like, it's not focus, You get that back with a strong and a firm grip, and then back to the session. Sit. 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 Good boy. Give him the treat. Praise him at the same time.